If all of your friends are poor, Harvard did that long study and said that the number one correlate was your reference group, which is who you compare yourself to. Also note, not who you spend the most time with, it's who you compare yourself to. And so if you want to change your life, change who you compare yourself to, number one. But part of who you compare yourself to is who you spend your time with, or who at least you consume the most of. So if you're doing this, then maybe that's a good thing, or maybe it's a terrible thing because you're comparing to the wrong people. But either way, if you want to get fit, if you get around fitter people, you will be deprived of fitness because you'll be the least in shape person. And then all of a sudden you'll be more motivated. If you are poor, but you're the richest of your friends or the same level of wealth as your friends, then get around people who make more money. And then of course people say, but I can't get around people who make more money. Okay. No one else has ever done it. No one who has had it worse than you has ever figured out how to do it. You're right. Right. Of course you're not right. So shut the fuck up.
Thoughts aren't true.
Oh. I mean, how many things do we think every day that are just false? One, they can be factually false, but also from the reactionary perspective. I'll give an example. So someone miscommunicates and wrongs me in some way. I get angry and think I should wrong them back. Now that's my first thought. If I then say, what does that behavior increase the likelihood of occurring as a result? What do I want to have happen as a result of my behavior? Well, I want them to apologize, or I want them to just not do that again. Well, then me reacting back to them increases the likelihood that they will retaliate. And so in doing what my first thought was, I increase the likelihood of the negative occurrence that I'm trying to avoid. And so thinking through what happens after that thing in interpersonal dynamics and also from a business decisions perspective has helped me so much. Like I'll give you an example of one that happened not that long ago. Somebody reached out to me, relatively big account, and says, hey, can you read my book? It would mean the world to me if you left me an endorsement. And I said, out of respect for you, I won't just ghost this message or give you a half-hearted answer and then just hope that you forget that I said yes. I'm not going to endorse your book, but you're welcome to send it to me. I will probably just flip through it because I have a lot of other books that I need to read that are more closely related to my goal. But I appreciate the flattery that's implied in you asking me to do that. Before I wrote that message, I was like, okay, what do I want to have happen after I send this message? Now, if I say, if I just ghost him, then I will probably have a null outcome. And he'll probably have a slight negative because he'll remember, but he'll be like, okay, fine, that was his way of saying no. But if I compliment him, thank him for the compliment with me, and also tell the truth, I'll probably get somebody who in the future will know that my yes means something when I choose to do it. And so it's thinking like 2 steps ahead of what happens after I say this thing back, and how do I increase the likelihood of that second move, not the first move? And it sounds silly to say because people are like, oh, of course, but like I don't think most people do that. And it has helped me so much. And even like with interpersonal dynamics with my marriage with Layla, if I want Layla to talk to me a certain way, then if I punish her when she doesn't talk to me that way, what she'll really do is she'll avoid talking to me in general. And so it's like I have to find a time when she does that thing so that I can immediately reward her so that I can increase the likelihood that it occurs. And so I think about this all the time with most of the dynamics that we have. And so anyways, I'll just stop on that tangent. But
where should people go? Do you want to keep up to date with what you've got going on? Or what have you got any cool stuff coming up?
If you're a beginner, just figuring out how to make your first dollar. I'm a co-owner of Skool.com, Skool.com. You can start for free. It's a cool setup that we have to help people do it. And right now, 54.1% of people who start a paid community on Skool make money. So we have put a tremendous amount of effort, Sam and I, into trying to remove all barriers and all friction for people who are getting started so that they have literally no excuses.
It's a way better strike rate than I
don't know what their strike rate is, but we've worked really hard to. if you saw the amount of detail, I mean, maybe you heard some of this from the podcast, but the amount of detail that went into like where buttons go and what things we remove was actually a big one. Was how can we so pare this down so that people don't get overwhelmed? Because the number one reason people cancel or decide not to do something is overwhelm. And so we're like, okay, how can we funnel action into the clearest possible steps that people go step 1, step 2, step 3, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this actually worked. And so it's been really cool to see the thousands of people who have made their first dollar, which is what I make all my content about it to begin with. And so it's been the ride of my life. It's been awesome.